Good morning. It's Thursday morning, 27th. It is raining again. We're struggling to finish some of these jobs. We've just did a wall job, building a rock wall and fixing the walkway, and we can't finish the topsoil or anything because it's so wet. So we moved out yesterday and did a quick driveway job, and still raining. So we're gonna go do a small culvert and a driveway job up in Morrisville. I am not interested in bringing 2 trailers up there so I can have the excavator to dig for an 8-inch culvert. So we're gonna break out the 4-in-1 bucket today since it's got a set of teeth on it and dig it with that. That way everything's on one trailer. So Brian's headed out. He's got the culvert and all our stuff. David's headed out. He's gonna meet me up there and grab a load of stay mat. And we are loaded up and ready to go. No tailgate on the 5500 this morning because one of my rocket scientists tried to flop it down but also didn't shut the bottom latch, so the whole thing just fell off and was hanging by the chains. So I love him. Come on, boys, headed out. Brian is going to drive 1 mile per hour while he, I don't know what, he should have put it in his GPS already. But I'm pretty frustrated with employees these days. I don't know, they just lack common sense, and it doesn't matter what age. You know, I've got one, it's been with me 3 or 4 seasons now. I can learn to live with his shortcomings because the things that he does well vastly overshadow the things that he should know. But in the last week and a half, we've broken the top caps off both jack stands of both trailers because of either turning too sharply or setting the bucket on the trailer and it wasn't right and it slipped and fell forward and smashed the cap off, and then turned too sharp with that trailer and completely bent the jack handle, so I had to fix it over the weekend. And then this week, unloading the grapple, like pinched and broke the hose on the grapple. So the grapple's now, that'll be the 2nd hose it's had to have replaced. And not latching hitches on the trailers. Just the tailgate falling off. I'm getting to the point where I can't deal with this stuff. It's just not working out properly. I had a part-timer working for me, and due to some medical issues, he has to take some time off. I highly doubt he's coming back, so I've got guys that are doing some of his tasks that really shouldn't be, and it's gonna start costing me money, especially if we do something wrong out on a job or between here and the job. So I'm gonna have to nip this in the bud pretty soon. But put an ad up this morning looking for a CDL driver, preferably Class A, with equipment moving experience. I also put an ad up for an operator, specifically for someone who can operate a Harley rake on a skid steer. And if that person can do both, then they're worth $30 an hour to me. And see what happens. The last ad I put up, I didn't pay for anything. I just put it up on our Facebook page. Had 2 inquiries for an operator spot. One guy wanted to interview, and we had the flooding, and I haven't heard from him since. And the other guy said he would call me and never did. So I put this ad up on our Facebook page today, and when I get back tonight, I'm going to put it up on Craigslist and pay for Facebook ad and see what I can find, because the whole point of hiring the drivers and the operators is to make my life easier, and all I'm doing is babysitting, and my life's not any easier. I still have to do almost everything and then spend all weekend doing paperwork or getting phone calls during the day that invoices are overdue, and I just hadn't had time to call and give them a card or, you know, send them a check or whatever. It's just like, but today we're headed up to Morrisville. It's about a 35-minute drive from the shop because it's 10 or 15 miles of dirt roads to get there. Way out in the boonies, no cell service. Got a little culvert to put in. DigSafe was called, or a ticket for DigSafe was sent in almost a month ago. Haven't heard from them. So I'm going to take a look at where the utilities go in the house and see if it's in the vicinity of where we're working, and hope for the best, I guess, because those guys are sucking behind tit, as they would say. So we're going to dig this little 8-inch culvert in, which isn't a big deal. It's only got to go in maybe 5 or 6 inches, and then we're going to coat it, cover it with 6 inches. So should be okay. But really, the reason we're putting it in is because water's going to get trapped in the island of this horseshoe driveway, so just want to give the water an outlet. So we should be able to bang this out today, and then if it's sunny tomorrow, we're going to go to another job, and hopefully Brian can finish up our wall project by doing the seeding and the strawing. We got to take a skid steer back there to spread a little bit more topsoil and load up the forks and the 2 pallets from the stone. But otherwise, we can wrap that up and get paid the rest of the money. And then look at the schedule, and it's basically, instead of having dates scheduled, it's whoever screams the loudest about us coming, we will show up first. We've taken care of all the jobs that had dates in which they needed to be done, so now it's people wondering where the hell we are. So we have to do that, and you have to find the jobs that, even though the ground's wet, we can still work there. So there's probably $15,000–$20,000 worth of driveway work waiting. So if it's too wet, then we will just start pecking off some more driveways. So anyway, we'll check it out when we get there. A couple of weeks ago, I made a comment on a video that Victory Outdoor Services had posted. During the video, he mentioned how his guys were showing up tired to work during the day because they were doing side work on weekends and on nights, and it was affecting their ability to do their job. And I commented, my guys aren't allowed to do side work. And somebody said, well, you don't own your employees. You can't tell them what they can and can't do on their off time. The fact of the matter is, I can. When I hire people, I tell them, I don't want competition. So if you're out doing side jobs with an excavator or skid steer or whatever, nights and weekends, you're a competitor, plain and simple. And the other big reason is because of what Ryan deals with. These guys come in the morning, they're beat, they work till 10, 11 o'clock at night on their side job, and then they're operating at half capacity during the day. And that affects my bottom line. And so I just say, no, listen, if you want to come to work for me, great, here's the job offer, here's the rule. I don't want you doing side work that pertains to what we do. And that is basically my limit. You know, if they want to do other stuff, that's fine. But at the same time, if you start to drag ass at work, then I'm going to find somebody else. And I make that completely clear before they hire in. I need people operating at 100%, and I don't need competition. So they need to weigh the options. Is making an extra couple $100 after work worth losing your job that you make $1,200 doing? Simple as that. And people just could not believe that I was such a jerk about it. It's just the way it is. I don't like people competing with me, and I don't spring it on them. I tell it to them when they hire in. The two guys that work for me right now have no interest in doing that, so that works out perfectly. If you've got guys that want to go do side work in the same industry that you're in, all that means is the clock's ticking until they decide they don't need you anymore, and they're going to go on their own. I've had that happen. And you're basically just grooming competition by letting them do side work, getting a taste of what it's like to gross a lot of money, not net, a lot of money. And pretty soon, they think, I'm going to go out on my own. And a lot of times they don't make it because they don't figure in all of the overhead costs, and then they'll come back looking for a job again. Which reminds me, I saw another video somebody that had posted about, you know, guys wanting to go on their own, or, oh, I know what it was. It was the, you know, boss makes $1, I make a dime, so I'm going to poop on company time. I can honestly tell you, my two guys take home more per week than I do, and at the end of the day, they can just go home and do whatever they want. They don't have to think about what's going on with the business. And guys who have their own businesses know what I'm talking about. It's just a lot of stress. Look at this beautiful weather. So this was never part of the driveway, but over the years they made it part of the driveway. So we are going to slap a baby 8-inch culvert in through here, through their perennial bed, cut that walkway over there, and embrace this as an actual driveway. So I'm going to dig out, we're going to cut that walkway out, dig out what we need to weasel that culvert in, and then raise this. So I didn't want water trapping in here, so this will give it an outlet. Okay, I'm now in my fort, so I don't have to get wet. All right, I just cut the walkway, so everything from the cut towards you needs to get flipped into my bucket. I assume he wants to keep them, so we will put them off on the side for him. Here's David. No tarp today, bud. going. Keep going. Yep. That's good. So I think we can cut probably I want it to come inside that edging, so maybe cut it by your shovel. Yeah. I'm using the 4-in-1 bucket like I've seen professionals. Trying to back drag with a toothed bucket. So weird. Is this your last day, Brian?
No.
You quitting?
No.
Culvert is in, flowing quite a bit too, for something that they said they didn't think they really needed. Yeah. Cut the walkway. Yeah. Alright, let's go get paid and get out of here. Alright, so we wrapped that one up today and got back to the shop. It poured and poured and poured and poured. So I told them to give it a day before they go driving around on it. Let some of that water get out of the material. It packed down okay, but it's there's a fine line between spritzing of it with water and putting 2 inches of rain on it. So when I got home, I did check the rain total, and we did get about 2 inches of rain today, which is just fantastic. I think we've gotten 11 or 12 inches of rain over the past 2 weeks. Well, today's the 27th. Yeah, 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks. So anyway, I appreciate you guys watching, and we'll see you on the next one.